Hello, guys. Welcome to the second part of my essay entitled Logic of Peace. Please check the first part in order to have the whole idea of this essay. So, please allow me to continue. The Logic of Peace, Part 2. The internal logic of peace leads us to consider honor and virtue as having an essential connection with both the nature and attainment of peace and development. Now, even the military establishment is aware of this. For this reason, education for honor and virtue is an essential part of the military training, especially military leadership training. An honor code and an honor system is observed in military schools. The honor system is put up for the implementation of the honor code, but the system and the code themselves are there to finally foster in the military the honorable life, a life of integrity. The military honor code, therefore, is not simply a superfluous aspect of the military life, but takes a central and essential place in the very ethos of soldiery, without which no soldier can be truly called a soldier. True honor, however, can only be had if there is integrity, and the latter, in turn, if there are virtues in the soul. Just as peace may apparently be more formal and abstract a term compared to development, so also honor may be the more formal and abstract compared to the term virtue. Similarly, just as there cannot be peace without development, so also there cannot be honor without virtue. For the latter substantiates or gives actual existence to the former. An ancient writing from China recognizes this connection between honor, which the military is wont to teach, and virtue, or at least the relevance of virtue to the military. According to military methods written by Sun Pin in China in the 3rd century BC, the implementation of virtue is the army's great resource. Military skills are, of course, important, but more important still are the human virtues that enable the military person to align his objectives with the common good. In effect, war becomes ultimately a political act, much more than a military act, thereby making the civilian authority supreme over the military and also making the promotion of the common good to remain possible as an aim. Now, since the organic unity of the human person requires not a fragmented and dichotomized moral life, then a complete lack of one virtue means the lack of all virtues. All other apparent virtues are then only apparent, that is, not authentic. Integrity, therefore, requires that all virtues, not only this or that particular virtue, be present in the heart of the person. This does not mean that the person should already be morally perfect so that he will have integrity. No. But that he should be constantly striving towards this moral perfection, just as the physical integrity of the young plant remains while in growth due to its organic being, so also the physical integrity of the mature plant remains until its death. In other words, only if virtues are growing or living in the person can we say that he has honor, which is simply that sense of one's dignity expressed by the inviolability of one's conscience. This is personal honor. And the more virtuous a person is, the more the sense of his dignity, his personal dignity, is increased. Honor is internal to the person. The public honor we receive from the outside, which is supposed to be a reaffirmation by the other people, of the internal honor we have personally does not of itself increase, much more create the personal honor we ought to have. In fact, public honor can oftentimes endanger it. It can even happen, especially in an evil society, as Mortimer Adler has said, that truly honorable persons are dishonored and truly dishonorable persons are honored. Indeed, as Aristotle said, to deserve honor is better than to receive it. Another implication of that internal sense of honor due to virtue is that its counterfeit is also possible. What is this counterfeit to the genuine sense of honor, if not the false sense of honor due to the vice we call pride, specifically the pride expressed in self-righteousness? This is when one thinks that one is virtuous enough to condemn other persons and to hypocritically appear oneself to be beyond reproach. Self-righteousness and hypocrisy go together. Hannah Arendt, in 1963, put it quite rightly when she wrote, "The hypocrite's crime is that he bears false witness against himself. What makes it so plausible to assume that hypocrisy is the vice of vices is that integrity can indeed exist under the cover of all other vices except this one. Only crime and the criminal, it is true, confront us with the perplexity of radical evil, but only the hypocrite is really rotten to the core." For this reason, the desire to become a true man of honor and integrity, and by implication the desire to have peace and development, necessarily requires not only the virtues in general, but also the virtue of humility in particular. A humble man may be more or less virtuous, but he is always a man of truth, confessing his failures and grateful for his successes, embracing the full truth both of his being and truth himself, who is God. Docility to truth being the very foundation of humility. A humble man is a forgiving man. Forgiveness implies that one hates the evil act, for evil indeed must be hated, but loves the one who happens to commit it, for persons indeed are worthy of love. In point of fact, the more we love the sinner, the more we hate the sin, for it is sin that damages the one we love. Forgiveness also implies, on the one hand, the sense of the holiness of the law, which is a sense of justice, and on the other hand, the sense of the creativity of mercy, which is a sense of charity. To align one's being with the truths behind justice and charity, therefore, is an act of humility. Earlier, it is said that peace requires the establishment of order based on justice and charity. Well, forgiveness is a concrete and perfect expression of integration of both justice and charity. An expression and integration possible only for the humble man. Now, granting that our military training institutions honor systems, the ultimate purpose of which is the fostering of the man of integrity, foster also the cultivation of humility and forgiveness, then their honor codes would be founded on and vivified by their true spirit, which is the spirit of honor, the substance of integrity, which is the virtues, especially humility. But the ultimate ground of this spirit must be looked for deeper in the moral man. If love is considered the form of all virtues, then it is in love that the ultimate ground for this spirit of honor must be sought. In the final analysis, it is in the love of God and love of neighbor where honor and virtues are founded. Honor is founded on love and not on itself, for it is always love of something that man dies for. With a full sense of honor out of pride, man dies for love of self. But with a genuine sense of honor out of humility, man dies for other men and for God. This latter honor and love constitutes a life worth living. For as what Martin Luther King Jr. says, if a man hasn't discovered something that he will die for, he isn't fit to live. In the final analysis, love will give us peace in the soul. And when peace in the souls of men is had, then there will follow peace in the world. Indeed, it is love that unites any talk of peace and development vis-a-vis honor and virtue. Now, since the implication of the logic of peace to the military is seen to be reasonable, despite the militaries being an instrument of war, it is also the more reasonable to expect that the implication of the logic of peace would be relevant to all humanity. In a few words, peace is achievable. As a final remark, talk about peace necessarily requires an organic approach, calling attention to other elements of human life, such as morality and social development. An organic approach avoids reductionisms that would, in the final analysis, destroy peace instead of serving it. The logic of peace simply means that peace itself is merely a part of a larger logic, the logic of the good human life, the substance of which is love. Guys, thank you for listening, and God bless you. God bless you all.